Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen with Gaper.io, and I'm here today with Wasif Arshad, an account executive with vFairs. Good afternoon, Arshad, or Wasif.
Good
Sorry.
afternoon, Mark. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for
Appreciate
joining me
being here.
today. I'm glad you could make it. So
Thank you for having me.
you're in Ontario, I know. So what's the weather like there?
Oh, it's great. It's the best weather of the year right now. We're all looking forward. We've all been enjoying the summer, going out on the weekends, or well, staying at home, or then trying to go out on the weekends. It's all in that format, but it's slightly cool now. So
Mhm.
we are looking towards the winters.
Yeah.
But how's it going for you over there?
Well, I'm in San Francisco right now, and believe it or not, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it literally looks like 7:30, 8 o'clock at
Oh,
night. There's a cloud of smoke just
I
over the whole
understand.
area. It's unbelievable. It's like nothing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
And I
it's
long for
pretty
my
crazy.
days back when I lived in Western New York. I remember September was a beautiful month in
It
Western New
is.
York.
Yeah.
So to start with, can you share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Of course. I've actually I'm working at vFairs basically it's a virtual events platform, and I've previously worked in a lot of different startups, mostly e-commerce. Now vFairs is another one that I really liked, and just looking at how we could accordingly work in it, it really encouraged me, inspired me to actually start working over there. Um, just a quick background about myself. I was originally from Pakistan. That's where I was. I worked a lot, and I completed my education. Then I shifted over here to Ontario just to start working. And I've done a lot of public speaking, working a lot in product management, and seeing how I can adjust myself into the e-commerce fair. So just trying to see how that would work. And just the current organization that I work with right now, and definitely hope to work for in the future, would be to do a lot of virtual events and see how that has connected me along with them to so many different people across the globe.
No, very good. So, and how long have you been with vFairs?
So it's actually just started, but I guess in the virtual sort of format, it's so fast that the growth has been at a lightning pace, if I could say that. I joined in April, and we recently expanded by at least 100% in totality. So we've really expanded the company, and we started off with a lot of operations in the North America. While we did have a lot of organizations and clients in the
Mhm.
US, but now we actually just started, having actual people here who could just directly reach out and just have everyone work. So
Wow.
it, it it's been great.
And are you still growing? I would assume you are just by the nature of what's going on.
Absolutely. We are growing. The growth levels have been nothing short of the standard. They've been very very great. I think it's been there for the entire industry,
Hmm.
and we've actually seen a lot of organizations who had the pain point that physical events can happen, and a lot of organizations shifted over to this virtual conference sort of format. In the previous years, while vFairs was there, vFairs has been in the space for 5 years now, just to give you a little background. And it was actually, it was doing a lot of events still. But given the current time, a lot of organizations were also forced to do a lot of their annual events. Universities coming up with their campus, open days, organizations, associations, nonprofits. A lot of them had their annual fundraisers or sort of galas to, have them virtually done.
Hmm.
And vFairs really sort of, along with a lot of other organizations in our industry, are there to help everyone, solve that for them.
Interesting. Yeah. vFairs could be the new Las Vegas. You don't know.
Well, the sky's the limit. You never really know how it works, but
That's the,
it all changes.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the conference.
that's what we know.
Was the conference capital of the world. Now you never know. You might take over. So what has been your experience with remote employment? I mean, prior to this and then even like the last few months.
Sure. Actually, prior to this, I was really used to going to the office, meeting some people, knowing everyone, and connecting with them and meeting with them. Meeting rooms normally used to be an actual table with some chairs, but now it's just more of a Zoom call, and it's really changed. But even then, there was a little tidbit of that where you would still speak with someone across the country or even across the city sometimes to have them on call. That was mostly teleconferencing, and it wasn't as highly in demand that meetings or interaction would change. And having moved here recently, I did get to see differences, that you would see that everyone's virtual, and you know joining a company that's virtual and having new people join us virtually is
Mhm.
a very new experience for everyone. And I've personally onboarded a lot of our new buddies as well. So I've been sort of like sales buddy, and we've also seen how they come in, and it's been great as well. So I wouldn't deny that. I think it's been good to have them on board. It's very different,
Mhm.
because you can't shake them by the hand. You can't go out with them, or j- talk over a cup of coffee, maybe something like that. But I think, given the nature of our company, how it works is already virtual, and it's meant to be that way. So that's already different, since we're based in a lot of different offices across the globe. So our first question normally is, "What's your time zone?"
Yeah,
And then we start to reach out to that person.
interesting. And did you move to Southern Ontario for this job, or were you already living there?
I was already living here, and I was at the time, I was looking for a great opportunity, and vFairs seemed to be something that definitely would look good.
Well, that's
But this
great.
was pre-COVID when I joined.
Yeah, and I know where you are. There's a lot going on in Southern Ontario. Toronto
Yeah,
is a beautiful city. Been
it
there
is.
many times. So, what do you think is the future of remote employment? And what do you think can be done differently to make it more effective? And obviously, your product is one of those things, I would assume.
Yeah, I in full transparency, I do think that a lot of organizations will go back to having physical offices. We've been so used to it, but I have seen a lot of organizations moving towards this shift. Like we have seen a lot of organizations open up to remote employment. By force, a lot of organizations had to shift to making a lot of their operations remote, and based on their productivity, if they're still achieving that, that would be great. For instance, if I were to talk about my own organization that I work at, vFairs has been highly productive in comparison to had it been required to have machinery or any sort of physical interaction required. So for the future, I think, for us at least, we will probably remain virtual and probably also remain remotely working, since even if we do have a physical office, we're still connected remotely, and we're
Mhm.
still connected on our channels, on our Slack, on Skype, on Zoom, on our HubSpot. So all of these tools, we have this sort of arsenal, and we were all used to it. So it'll sort of be like 5 different people in 5 different conference rooms, even then.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Very interesting. So, what is the story behind vFairs? What I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, but what is it you actually do for your end customer? And who is your typical end customer? Is it a small startup, or is it all the way up to a Fortune 500 company, or what's your sweet spot?
Absolutely. So vFairs, just to give you the background, is we do a lot of virtual events. We do a lot of virtual conferences, virtual trade shows. So normally that you have an exhibition where you have product display. So that's a virtual concept now, where we have exhibit halls, booths, webinars, games, engagement features, a lot of those features that can actually attract users to spend more time. And our major focus is to make sure they have a good experience. And we've also seen a lot of organizations use us for job fairs. So these
Mhm.
are some organizations, like we work a lot with Fortune 500 and 1,000 clients. We've worked with a lot of different organizations, with airlines, with universities, key names that we've worked with, and we continue to do so. We've also worked with companies of smaller scale, medium scale as well. Essentially, it really depends if you want to scale down or
Mhm.
scale up. It depends on you, and we do have both options for that. But we have done larger scale events as well. So
Okay, so I mean, it sounds like you pretty much do anything that's remote. I mean, in terms of an event, I mean, is an event anywhere from an hour to a week, or does it go all over the place, or?
sure. So typically, it varies. We normally offer one day that you can do that event, and we offer extra days that you can add on to it. So we've seen events being done, for instance, like one organization did an event for 5 days with 24/7 support with different time zones all over the world.
Hmm.
Another organization had an internal B2B event or just an employee only event for 2 to 3 hours in one day.
Hmm.
So the advantage of virtual is that you don't have to pay for a lot of those. And I'm not hitting out on the physical industry here, the
Mm,
event industry, but yeah, you can accordingly see that organizations do see that as a benefit. That a lot of people don't have that barrier anymore. They don't have to be in a different location. They don't have to travel,
mm,
and they save on that. But conversely, a lot of people like doing that. They like coming, they like traveling. So we've seen alternatives as well. We've seen users actually ask for different features, or we've seen organizers even order food and drinks for their guests, so by
mm.
Uber or any
Really
organization like that. So it's all been how to make that experience a good one.
interesting. I'm actually doing something tonight. It's at a virtual event. It's a virtual do-it-yourself, make a drink, and
Oh wow.
so it's actually similar to what you do. Although this is only a 1.5 hour event. So
Yeah, a lot has changed, and people are just trying to sort of simulate that, and we've seen a lot of great ideas come up our way.
yeah. So normally at this point, I ask people about how the pandemic affected you, but I have to believe how it affected you. It just increased your volume of business immensely, correct?
That would be correct. Yeah. So in that case, it did increase our volume immensely. We're naturally trying to help everyone out, and a lot of organizations do want to do virtual events, ideally in this year. And a lot of organizations are also planning for the next year now,
Mm,
given the budgets, and they're moving towards that too. So we're seeing that shift as well in how the decision makers of organizations are moving for Fortune 500 universities and other companies all across the board, regardless of size. They are thinking about the next year as well, because it's what we've seen from them is that they're slightly scared that if they do invest in a big event venue and so forth, people might not still come,
hmm
or if they do come, it might not be the way they still wanted it to be. So
hmm
they're actually thinking a lot about hybrid as well. A
Yeah.
lot of live streams have come into play, and we used to do that even before the pandemic. So we're familiar with that, and as I'm sure other organizations are too. So a lot of organizations are moving towards that as well.
I have to believe in your industry. I mean, you were on that
Yeah.
upward trajectory, and then COVID
Yeah.
just did this, the hockey stick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So, on a personal note, maybe you could help me. My daughter is engaged. Do you do weddings?
We do. We've actually done one. Yeah. And congratulations, first of all,
Thank
just
you.
before that. And I'm really happy to hear that.
Yes.
But yeah, we do that. We
Well,
definitely.
I might be calling you, and she's actually, I don't know. What is your territory?
Um, so territory like geographical region
Yeah, do you have one, or you guys don't do
across
it?
the world, anywhere.
Okay. All right. She's in Pittsburgh, so you never know.
Oh, wow.
She's on your
Pittsburgh.
time zone. First question. So,
Yeah, no, that would be great.
did the pandemic really cause any roadblocks or challenges that you didn't expect other than growth?
So the one was that a lot of organizations were new to the concept, and we actually had to hire more people.
Hmm.
So it did help out a lot of people because everyone's looking for jobs, and it did help in that focus. And whenever we do virtual job fairs or career fairs, our CEO and our management always has a soft spot because we want to make sure that we accommodate them as much. So but that's one side I'm sort of deviating, but yeah, we do. We do offer that. Yeah.
Interesting. And for those that are listening, assuming you're still hiring, what types of positions are you hiring for?
So we essentially are looking for a lot of product managers, anyone who can be part of our organization and has a great skill set, sales enablement specialists, account executives. So we are looking for a lot of those, and we essentially really thrive. And what I love most about vFairs is the culture. It's a great culture to be in. Our management is very nice. We have a lot of pressure as well, but they're very engaged with us. We a lot of communication. Whenever there's good communication, there is always good conversation.
Mm,
So I would definitely encourage that if anyone's looking for a great culture fit, they should come over.
okay. Well, I will let other people know. I know people that are looking for jobs, so I will refer them
Thank
to you.
you.
Who would I refer them to? To you directly, or should I go through your corporate HQ?
They could reach out to us on our LinkedIn, or they could also reach out to me. I'm happy to assist either
Okay.
way.
And I don't know if this applies to you, but there's companies like Gaper that help develop, build, and scale products, especially for startups. Do you deal with that at all, or is that done out of a different division?
Um, uh, I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Well, we help. What Gaper does is we provide remote developers for similar to what you do. Instead of remote events, we do remote development. Is that something you deal with, or is that something that's done out of a different part of the company?
So we directly do the development, and we have our development team in the in Pakistan and the UAE. But yeah, we definitely are on the lookout for remote development as well. If there's any possibility for collaboration, I think we could definitely look at that. Our management could see how that would work. We
Yeah.
definitely are hiring more people in the development side as well, and we do hire for UI, UX, or back end development. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, I also happen to have a son who happens to be a
Oh
UI.
wow.
He's not a UI UX guy. He's actually a React, Java, JavaScript, that type of
Yes.
thing.
Okay.
So I might be able to
That's
get you a
great.
customer and an employee.
No, that would be great. Thank you.
Well, Wasif, this has been really interesting. It's always good to talk to a fellow person from that, from that part of the world. Full disclosure, I'm from about an hour from where Wasif lives now. That's where I'm originally from. And it was great talking to you today.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. It's great
Right.
speaking with you as well.
Have a great day.
You too. You too. Thank you.